What's up everybody, Alex here with a new setup for a brand new series. This is the first of a series of videos I'm going to do on the team sets from the 1953 Bowman color baseball card set. So as I'm wrapping up this set and finishing up the teams, I thought it would be a fun idea to sort of highlight each team, show the cards together, talk about the cards, look at their stats from the 53 season, and also just sort of take a look at how the team fared in 1953 and see if I can dig up any fun stories or interesting anecdotes about the 53 season for each of these teams. So we're going to get started with the team that has the fewest cards in this set, the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll start with the low numbers and we'll work our way up to the high numbers. So we've got Bob Friend, which is a nice reminder of the Pittsburgh Pirates YouTuber Bob Lewis, who is our friend, of course. This is one of my favorite portrait cards of the set. Next up, Joe Garagiola, catcher, and obviously later on in life was a broadcaster. Here's probably the biggest card of the Pirates in this set, Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner. Great pose, and you can see a bit of the Polo Grounds there in the background. Fairly obscure player Clem Kashorek. High number card and a very tough card at that. And last but not least, the very last card in the set, number 160, Cal Abrams, with a cloud card. That's what I like to call these ones. And so there you have it. Only 5 Pittsburgh Pirate team cards in this set. So let's take a look at how the Pittsburgh Pirates fared in 1953. To do that, we're going to have to go back to the end of the previous season, 1952. So for the 1952 season, the Pirates had won 40 games and lost 112. Needless to say, something had to change. Branch Rickey was the general manager of the Pirates at the time. So he gets on the phone and he calls his friend Lorenzo Nadarce, who's the commissioner of baseball in Cuba. And he says, "We're coming." Rickey had been in Cuba before in 1947 when he took the Brooklyn Dodgers along with Jackie Robinson to Cuba before the season began for some preseason warm-up. The idea was probably to give the guys a change of scenery. New atmosphere might loosen them up, give them a different experience, and maybe find a way to get some camaraderie going to get the team headed in the right direction. So Rickey and Nadarce struck a 3-year deal for the Pirates. Cuba would pay for transportation, lodging, and meals, and the Pirates would hand over gate earnings for the exhibition games. They would be playing Cuban all-star teams as well as the Philadelphia Athletics. So the experiment was underway and pretty quickly revealed a whole lot of problems. First of all, the attendance was pretty low. And one of the theories was that Cubans love baseball, but at the time they also loved to bet on baseball. Problem with spring training games is that it's incredibly unpredictable since players are coming into and out of games all the time. So because the game was unpredictable, nobody wanted to bet on them, and a lot of people weren't coming to the games. The Pirates were definitely not happy with the arrangement either. They felt like the competition was fairly weak, and aside from playing the A's, they were only playing other local teams and weren't really able to tell whether the team was going to be ready for the season or not. So the Pirates leave Cuba for the season with a pretty big feeling of uncertainty. Before the season begins, they have a preseason matchup with the Yankees for 2 games. And during this series, Mickey Mantle hits a 500-foot home run that lands on the roof of Forbes Field in Pittsburgh. An ominous sign for the season to come. So let's take a look at some of these players and how they fared over the 1953 season. So first up, we have Bob Friend, pitcher and a longtime Pittsburgh Pirate. In 53, he was 8-11 with a 4.90 ERA. Cal Abrams had a .286 average with 15 home runs and 43 RBI. Clem Koshorik was kind of an anomaly. This was his last year in the majors, and he had only spent 2 with the Pirates. He played in all of 1 game in 1953 and only had 1 at-bat the entire season and struck out. But the big story in this team set has to be Ralph Kiner and Joe Garagiola. So when you look at their numbers for the 53 season for the Pirates, Kiner had a .270 average with only 7 home runs and 29 RBI. And Garagiola only had a .233 average with 2 homers and 14 RBI. The reason those numbers are so small is because their time with the Pirates in 1953 was incredibly short. Ralph Kiner, in particular, had a very long contract dispute with Branch Rickey, which was finally resolved before the season began. Unfortunately, though, because the Pirates got off to such a terrible start, the decision was made to trade Ralph Kiner and Joe Garagiola to the Cubs, and in return, the Pirates got Toby Atwell, Bob Addis, and 4 other Cubs, plus $150,000. In the end, the Pirates had a win-loss record of 50 and 104, only slightly better than the year before. And the Pirates president said the team would be back in Florida for spring training the following year, ultimately breaking the contract with Cuba. The Pirates wouldn't post a winning record again until 1958, and then 2 years later, finally win the World Series. So that wraps up this look at the Pittsburgh Pirates through the 1953 Bowman color set. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you'll be back to check out future installments as I go through all the teams. Thanks very much. I'll see you on the next one.